Alrighty, we are back with your favorite podcast show of the week. This is Location Weekly. It's episode number 488. We are recording live on October the 27th. Brianna, how are you? Big week.
Yeah, it's I'm good. A little crazy, but I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's getting a little colder. Fall is definitely set in here in Canada. We're kind of adjusting to that. I will say, although I have no skin in the game, the World Series has been really interesting to watch because it's been so back and forth, and I'm actually quite happy that the Rays are hanging in there. We'll see if they can tie it up again tonight. But yeah, I mean, things are good. Things are good. We have a big launch at ground level tomorrow. So on Wednesday, we're launching a national free contact tracing data collection tool for all businesses in the country here in Canada. So excited about that we can do that and give back that way. So yeah,
hmm
good.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Congratulations on that.
Thank
Well,
you.
congratulations in a couple days when it's
Yeah,
out there, but
yeah,
congrats on all the hard work. I know it's going to pay off.
yeah. You have some big news.
I do. I have a big career change, which is crazy. I was with Digital Envoy, their different business units, Digital Element and Gather Lab for the last 8 years. And that's a long time in this industry. So, big change for me. I actually am starting a new role at Samsung in the ads division. So I'll be joining their global product marketing team. I'm really excited. They seem like an awesome group, and I'm grateful. Like all around, I'm super grateful to all of the growth and experiences and just awesome people I got to work with at Envoy, and how it just grew me professionally and personally, and put me in this industry. I mean, I wouldn't be here on this podcast had it not been for that opportunity, probably. So yeah, but I'm super excited about joining the Samsung ads team. So I'll be heading up mobile for the global product marketing, and I'm sure it'll be full of new challenges. I'll be learning a lot. I will be surrounded by incredibly smart people, smarter people than myself that I can just learn from. And I don't know. So staying in the ad tech space, but definitely venturing somewhere new. So I'm
Yeah.
excited.
There'll be a whole new experience, I'm sure, and it even involves a move at some point geographically as well for you. So that's
Yeah. So we'll be here in Atlanta for a little bit longer. And then at some point, when things open up a little bit more, we will be making the move to New York as in city. So I know we have lots of, friends and listeners and LBMA members that are there. So I'm excited to see you guys more face to face when we can do that. But yep. So hit me up. Let me know. I need to know all the things about where to live, where to go.
you got to work on your
I'm
accent
just
though. You got to get the New York accent.
I'm just gonna be me. That's the way it's gonna be. I don't think I really have much of any accent at this point, but yeah, I'm just gonna be Brianna. How about that?
There you go. Cool. Well, congrats. We're really happy for you, and I know you'll really be a big asset to the Samsung team. So there you go. All right, we've
I
got four
appreciate that.
stories for y'all this week. I'll let Aubriana.
Speaking of accents,
What's that? Yeah, there you go.
y'all.
Well, it's cold up here. I gotta feel like I'm in the South, or something. Anyways,
Ah,
yeah. So we've got
okay.
four stories for you guys this week, and I'll let Aubriana kick it off with our first one, which is an interesting one. Yeah, over to you.
Yeah, I do find this really interesting because, we talk all the time about giving consumers value for their data. And this is exactly what Amazon is doing. And it's actually not super technical. It's a pretty easy and straightforward program that they're launching. So they're launching this invite only program. It's through the Amazon Shopper panel, and they can earn extra cash, $10 a month. What they're asking customers to do is whenever you shop somewhere besides any of the Amazon properties, including Whole Foods, that you just take a picture of your receipt and you upload it to them. So they're using this obviously as like a research initiative. They want to, figure out, what are people buying? Are they researching on Amazon and then buying something somewhere else? What are the brands that they're interested in? And they can also earn extra cash by doing some different customer surveys. So, they say that basically you can either get this $10 reward that can go towards Amazon purchases, or you can just donate it to the charity of your choice, which is really cool as well. And then, something else that they were saying is that brands are looking to like third parties all the time and third party data to inform them in their decisions about advertising, where they place that, what they place, when, why. And you think about like some of the panel, intelligence, data intelligence programs that are available. Like you've got Nielsen, you've got, they mentioned NPD. I mean, there's tons of them out there. You've got like Alliant and all of these, different propensity scoring and buying data programs, and they're really important to these types of brands. So Amazon's sort of bringing all of this together. It is an opt-in and invite only program that Amazon's doing, and they're, saying obviously we may use the data that we gather to inform the selections that we provide or inform advertising choices for those brands who sell on the Amazon platform. So I think this is good. What I think is good about this is that it's simple and straightforward. It's invite only. Obviously, it's opt-in. They're saying they're going to like mask out any compromising data that's there and only keep the information that's pertinent to what they're, studying here. And I think that it's setting the precedent for other people to be able to do the same and say, hey, we can offer you X amount of dollars for this is the data that we're looking for, and here's how we're going to use it. It's a pretty straightforward thing. And I think that's what consumers want to see. Like, I'm happy to upload a few receipts when I shop other places, right? Like when I go to Target, what I buy, that's not a problem to me, because obviously I want to receive better options and choices as well from everywhere that I shop. And it honestly makes it a little bit more competitive in terms of what I can buy and where. So I think that it's a win-win here.
Yeah, I think this is obviously from an Amazon point of view. I think this is a great way to gain more insight into what the shopper, the consumer is already doing and what they're buying, and it's just yet another data point to improve the algorithms and the targeting that Amazon has. So from that point of view, I think it's a good move. The reality is that there are a lot of platforms out there that are these types of sort of cash back, upload your receipts, scan your receipts, get money back. Rakuten Ready up here, we have Checkout 51 in Canada. So there's a lot of these sort of programs that are designed to kind of understand, like they're really about data mining, right? At the end of the day, it's a small amount of money in exchange for understanding data. So I'd rather they take a different approach here, which is know they already know enough about us, right? Like, so why not just if they want to improve the targeting and improve their their sort of share of the wallet from the consumer, I'd rather they just directly ask and say, hey, what are the brands, what are the products that you're interested in, and then deliver ads and products with a discount associated with that for them, right? As opposed to scanning receipts and all this kind of stuff. So overall, I like it from a data point of view. I think it's a lot of noise in a crowded market of cashback rewards types of programs that consumers have a lot of options on. So.
I agree, but when I think about it from a business strategy standpoint, what I think you just said is actually the reason why they're doing it. So I don't think it would be far-fetched to say this is a dipping their toe in the water for Amazon to see what is this as a viable business for us. And I could totally see them saying, okay, this program is working. We're getting the data that we need. We see the value that this data has. So we're going to go and acquire one of these other companies that has a technology platform already set up for this. And we're going to bring it in. And now we have more advertising features to offer to our advertisers. We have even more data than we've already had previously because we're getting this, on a cadence that's a little bit less mechanical and less manual of just uploading receipts, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that that's the direction they could go. And I also think that the difference here is that when you have a platform that is based upon like loyalty and rewards, it's harder to have that user acquisition. Whereas here you have this platform like Amazon who has all the users in the world they can possibly imagine, like they have already conquered the space. So they have the customer acquisition. So it's much easier for them to acquire another company who already does this and then just bake it into their platform. So I think that that's what I would be thinking of from a strategic standpoint within the company. But I agree that there's already, it's not new, but it is a better strategic approach because it's Amazon.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that idea of kind of, sort of, understanding, testing, and then seeing kind of, if there's a potential acquisition that makes sense for them to kind of really double down in this segment of the market. So, yeah.
Maybe that will be a prediction.
Maybe. All right.
Yeah.
On to our second story now. Kind of playing off of a trend that we've been talking about for a little while here on the show, which is kind of the continued investment and growth of voice technologies. Verizon has announced that they are going to roll out a series of voice-activated smart signs in their stores, in their physical stores. So these are wireless devices, and Verizon stores where you can walk into and buy phones and sign up for plans and so on. And so essentially, they've got these smart signage platforms, digital signage platforms from Reflect Systems. And the media is enabled through BrightSign. And essentially what they're doing is that they can create these experiences where essentially the signs are listening to, for people to speak in the same way that, your Alexa or Siri or whatever listens to you. And then can basically deliver the content that you're looking for on the screen based on those voice prompts. So, it's just think of it as a visual display for Alexa search, Alexa query results. Let's just call it that. So I think this is good. I think it's interesting. I think in a COVID pandemic world that we live in, anything that we can do that doesn't involve touch, or physical interaction is a move in the right direction for retail. And so I think this is just a natural, easy progression for this type of business. And I think it's a really, it speaks to kind of the way our society has been evolving, right? Like we're more and more embracing these kinds of voice technologies, which we've talked about a lot on the show. And I think just enabling that in physical retail is a great way to sort of continue to have that. So it shouldn't just be at home or in your car, but everywhere you go to have that capability. So I really like this. I think it's a great use of technology, which is actually quite mature now, and just deploying it in a very simple way in the Verizon stores.
Have you ever, I mean, I'm sure you have, I feel like everybody has had those conversations like where you call customer service and it's an automated system. And then you're like, I have a question about my order, or I'm having trouble with my service. And they're like, what? I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? And so, you have those like troubleshooting where you're like, representative, give me an associate. I can just see myself in the Verizon store, like screaming at one of these, digital screens. But I'm kidding, because but I could just see how it can be frustrating as well. But what I can see this being really helpful with is at least the last maybe 5 times I've walked into a Verizon store, because they're my carrier. Whenever I walk in, there's always at least 1 or 2 people that are standing there asking for your name, checking you in, what are you there to do, getting you on the list to make sure that somebody can give you the attention you need. And I can see a digital sign taking care of that, right? So it's just easy, and you have somebody that's on a screen saying like, welcome to Verizon. What can I help you with today? Okay, what's your name? And you just enter that information right there, and it automates things and just keeps a process going. So I like this idea. And I also think this would be great in things like transportation. So, you've got huge subway systems and trains, and you need help getting directions, or you are in Atlanta, airport where it's huge and it gets confusing because there's multiple terminals and you have multiple languages. So being able to interact with a screen that can speak in lots of different languages, and just provide you a quick answer without having to sort of like map things out on your own or open up an app, I think could be really beneficial for people of all ages. And I think that it's very seamless. So I like that part of this, and I'd like to see where else something like this could
Completely
go.
agree with that. Like I think there's so many places this kind of technology can be used. I think it's the challenge will be doing it in a right environment where you're not speaking to a screen and it's causing disruption for other people around you. You know what I mean?
Like
You
not in the
know,
library.
well, it's almost like okay, it's like you're on a plane and doing a Zoom call, right? And everybody's like, can you get off the phone, kind of thing, right? Like, so you sort of have to, look for that balance, look for that for it to be in a right environment that's sort of, noise dampening enough or what have you that it's sort of that focal point is on the person asking the question and the screen responding. Like if you can use directional speakers and things like that, I think that becomes really really powerful. So yeah, I like it.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
very cool. Well, let's move over to some Java talk. I love coffee. I have decided I think I'm kind of a coffee snob. Like, not that I need expensive coffee, but I have a particular taste in coffee. And I was having this conversation the other day, but this coffee story happens to be about a pretty well-known brand, and that's 8 o'clock coffee. And they decided to do this kind of fun campaign. And it has come to a close with numbers. So they started this in the summer, and it was their own sort of at home Java parties. And they worked with let me find the name of this company. They
Ripple
worked
Street.
with Yes, thank you. Ripple Street. So they worked with Ripple Street to do this campaign. And what it was is they like put together these fun boxes. They had a bunch of people apply to host their own home Java parties. They had about 6,200 consumers that applied on ripplestreet.com to host their own barista house party. Now, I'm not a barista. Like, I drink my coffee black, no cream, no sugar. So I don't do a lot of fancy stuff. But the caveat is that if I'm going to have a Cuban coffee, like, it needs to be like a legit Cuban coffee, steamed milk, lots of sugar. And I usually only get that like if I'm, in Tampa or Miami or something, and I know that it's like a legit place. But what I think is really interesting, they put these little packages together. So they sent out, let's see, it was all branded for 8 o'clock coffee. They had a branded apron, disposable paper cups, coffee scoops, recipe cards for more than just coffee, but also like food to go along with it, kind of like a brunch. And then they encourage people to take these pictures and, sort of obviously publicize their at-home house party. So this was like be your own barista, and they used the hashtag barista house party. And their target audience was actually ShopRite drinkers. So the Northeast, has a lot of ShopRite locations. And so they were looking to target this demographic of, I think, 25 to 40-year-olds that are in that Northeast region, have access to ShopRite, where they obviously sell this coffee brand. And so the campaign generated, I like these numbers, more than 44,000 social media comments and posts, 12,000 product trials, and 830 authentic product photos, 411 product reviews with an average of 4.8 out of 5-star rating. So I think what's great is that we always talk about like, what is the outcome or what is the purpose of a campaign? Sometimes it's brand awareness, sometimes it's creating that emotional connection, sometimes it's actually driving business. And I think that this sort of attacked all of those a little bit. And I really like how they brought it home, made it something fun that people could do. Everybody needs coffee because people drink coffee. Like, that's not changing, right? That's something that's a staple, I would say, even more now that people are like working from home and they're not, going to the kitchen to get coffee at their office, right? Like, they are making their own coffee throughout the day, and it's probably something that's actually maybe even gone up in terms of purchase from the store versus like the Starbucks and things like that. So I think this is a really fun campaign. I like that they brought it home and that they generated a lot of just organic content for the brand itself. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's very creative. I think the fact that in a difficult time, this summer when we're all in lockdown, trying to find ways to engage with people and have people engage with the brand, I think is really interesting, right? And if you're not, going out to stores, you're not going out to coffee shops, physically, why not bring the product to the people, so to speak? And so from that point of view, I think this is really great. And I think the fact that they put a lot of focus on, creating that brand experience in the home environment, creating a lot of social content for the brand around it. I think it's a really great experience. And I think anytime, 8 o'clock coffee obviously has done a great job here with these Java parties, but I think anytime a physical brand, whether you have stores or you're more of a CPG that has product in stores, if you can kind of get into people's homes or connect with them in their neighborhoods or at a personal level, I think that's where you can really hit a home run because. I think in some respects, there's not enough of that happening. Like I wish like you'd see strong brand partnerships between things like Nextdoor, for example, and brands like this, where you're truly like in those community platforms, like localized. I've told this story before, but I remember when Lowe's opened up a store in my neighborhood. They went around like in advance of the store opening, I think it was like 2 weeks before or something like that, and they drove like Lowe's branded trucks around our neighborhoods and were handing out potted plants, to every single door, dropping them off, at every house, with an invite to come to the store opening. And things like that. And it's this idea of like bringing the brand to the people, connecting with people in the community that you're around, and I think it's really very well done. And I think like this to me is just a neat way to engage. And I think doing that connection between 8 o'clock coffee and people in their homes, it's not that people don't do this anyways. Like they're sitting around having coffee with friends or having wine with friends or doing whatever with friends in their homes, but to do it in a branded fashion and have the brand sort of there in their home with them, I think is what's really cool about it. So I like that. All right, final story, and this is a really fun one as well that I came across this week. So I'm not a big skier. I know our good buddy Karsten and his family are. So if he's listening, he'll probably appreciate this. But the mountain village near Telluride, the ski village there, ski resort there, is doing something very interesting this coming winter to sort of embrace the COVID pandemic. So what they're doing is they're taking 20 old gondolas that are out of service, and they're refurbishing them as dining cars. So they've set up like this area, this plaza area, sort of like at the base of one of the mountains, I guess. And they've got a company that is called the Gondola Shop that does these refurbishings normally as a regular business, where they take old gondola cars and refurbish them and turn them into saunas or tree houses or whatever you want them to be made into. They do that, and they've asked these guys to refurbish 20 of these cars and turn them into dining cars. And so we all know that the struggles with capacity restrictions in restaurants and social distancing and all of that. But if you could go to Telluride and book a dining car that is designed to be outdoors, because it's a gondola. It's made for the winter weather and being in the harsh climate, and you can have a beautiful sort of outdoor dining experience in your own car with your own family or your own group of people. They think they can get 6 to 8 people in one of these things, around a dining table, and it's all like nicely lit and sort of that cool experience. And yeah, so I think this is really interesting. I'm going to try and get some imagery into the video about this week as well. Yeah, so they and the other thing I really like about it is so you basically book one of these things, and then you have like they're doing it to try to like have a unique dining experience and keep some people employed and things like that. because they're at a 50% capacity restriction. But the other really cool thing about it that I like is that the food part of it is they're working with local restaurants as well. So you order and then they basically deliver from a local restaurant to then bring the food into this dining car. So like for me, that's really great too because they're not just doing something to create an experience in their own environment and some revenue for their own facility, but they're also supporting other local businesses and restaurants, through this endeavor. So it's truly a community thing, and so I really think it's just well thought out, really creative, and just a neat way to do something different in a crazy time.
I agree. I think this sounds like a great experience and something fun. Like I would like to go and do this with, my family or maybe like, another family, but just something that you can actually go and do and enjoy and being outdoors, but just something that's cool and different, right? And I love the repurposing. We've had so many of those stories this year, and it's just been great to see all the creativity around repurposing things. We talked about, for example, the old dispensers. They were like cigarette dispensers and vending machines, and they made them into art dispensers and just like all the cool stuff that we've seen, kind of the old is new. And I like this story as playing into that. And I also just like something that's kind of classic, whether it's like, a what are those great campers called, the silver ones? I'm losing my train of thought, but just like
Airstream.
Yes, Airstreams. Thank you. Airstreams and gondolas and the old like VW vans and all of these old like really cool things that just have an artistic beauty about them, and just taking them and using them in different environments. I mean, I could even see them doing something like, okay, it's a camping cabin now, or like whatever else they want to make it into at some point. But yeah, I love this.
Yeah, I think it's just a great idea, and I'll try and get some of the imagery into the video because I just think it's such a neat way to kind of just do something totally different in a very cool environment. Like when you can't travel and you can't get on a plane and you can't go somewhere that you've been looking forward to going to. This is something you can actually get to, and it's sort of a unique experience. So I really like it that from that point of view. So that's it. That's our show for this week. You've been listening to episode number 488 of Location Weekly. We thank you for your time and your attention. If you have story ideas, reach out to us. If you have feedback, we want to hear about that as well. Of course, all of our social media contact information is available at the end of the show here. Where you can just find us. We're easily found on all the channels. And once again, congratulations to Brianna on her new gig at Samsung. We wish you all the best, and we'll see you next week. You'll just be in a new place. So, well, you'll probably be in the same place, just doing something different. So
I'll still be here. Yeah, but you got it. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.